So Hecate, let's talk about her. She is a dark goddess. She is a roaring, wild, depths, underworld, dark goddess. She is keeper of the feminine mysteries, holder of blood mysteries, holder of womb wisdom. She is very, very connected to ancestral lines, to past life territory, to absorbed collective fears around opening up to feminine magic, to feminine mysticism, to our intuition, to our seer, to our oracle, to that part of us that knows. She's one of those archetypal energies that, like many of them, many of the feminine archetypal energies that started out as lovely goddess. She was called the Lovely One. Originally, she was called the Lovely One, and she was on par with Zeus. And over the years was demonized. Like many of the feminine archetypal energies, goddesses in their myths, there was a demonization that happened. And so demonized, forced to go underground, forced into shifting out of the Lovely One, this beautiful, amazing, gorgeous goddess, into like witchy, gnarly, crone, old, nasty, and then you can like feel into all of the stories and all the myths and all of just the energy around that. And you can maybe start to feel in your system, even as I'm talking about that, what that brings up for you, in you. It will bring up, she will bring up a whole lot of shadow material, a whole lot of unconscious material, a whole lot of material from the unseen realms, a whole lot of material that resides in your system that shifts things, alters things, pulls things into your world, creates things in your world, pushes things away, sabotages things that we don't even know about. We don't even know about. That's kind of the shadow. That's the shadow realms, the unconscious realms, is that there's this whole underground realm of us, of our beings, this whole underground realm of self, part of self that is always operating. It's always operating. It's always pulling in the things that we need. It's always working through karmas that you need to be working through. It's always magnetizing. It's always creating. Like, it's what calls in like shitty people into your life, and you're like, how did I get into this situation again? Right? It's that part. We're just not conscious of it. We all have it. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with the unconscious part. This is part of what we're here for, is to uncover. It's know thyself. It's that same path of know thyself, know thyself, know thyself, and becoming conscious. We talk about all these things of we want to become conscious and know thyself, and we spout out all of these spiritual terms. But do we really understand what that means? Do we really fully grasp what that means? And it means that we bring a flashlight into the basement of our beings, we turn it on, and we look what's behind door number 1, and then what's behind door number 2. And then we go down 3 floors lower into the dungeon, which is even worse than the basement floor. We go into the dungeon and we go, okay, what dragons are down here? What dragons are down here? That's becoming conscious. That's the enlightenment path. That's the awakening path. There's no way that we get to skip the shadow. We don't get to skip the dragons in the basement. Now, we've all got dragons in the basement, and there's no demonizing the dragons. The more we push them away or demonize them or ostracize the shadow, the more like power that it has, the more it is unconsciously creating. The more it's unconsciously creating, the wilder it gets. You know, the more disassociated we are from it, the more havoc it's wreaking in our lives. And so a really huge gift when you start working with any dark goddess, I don't care which one it is, any dark goddess, is this revealing, is this capacity, is this ability, is this gift to be taken into the underworld, to be taken into the places that are hidden, to be taken into those energies that are unconsciously moving pieces in our lives. They're shifting things, they're moving pieces in our lives, they're creating things in our lives. Feeling into, all right, I have to let this rip because I'm too pissed off about it not to. This is that sacred outrage part. This is, I cannot not say this. There is so much shit out there around womb healing and womb awakening and ritual this and magic spell casting this and yada, yada, yada. There's so much new agey spiritual shit that one has zero juice behind it. Zero fucking Shakti behind it. Zero Shakti, zero juice, zero potency, zero divine feminine, zero goddess, zero. It has zero. It's just garbage. It's garbage. And it's like if you were speaking from Hecate, if you're speaking from this fucking medicine woman, from this earthy, grounded, deep-rooted medicine woman who is seer, who is oracle, who is knower, who is keeper of the blood mysteries, who knows womb wisdom, who knows midwifery, who knows these things, right? And you speak from this energy and you see from this energy and you look at all of this stuff and you go, you've got to be kidding me. You're putting my name on that. That's what you're doing with the term witch. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. You're dancing. You're dancing on surface level with fucking crowns and aprons and fucking shit. Shit. Take your broom and shove it up your ass. You have no idea. You have no idea of the capacities that we're talking about here. You have no idea of the fullness of who I am and what I am capable of. You have no idea. You do not understand this Shakti. You do not understand this power, and you do not deserve to touch this power. You do not deserve it because you would misuse it. You would misuse it. You haven't done the shadow work. You haven't done the underground work. You haven't done the work in the basement to be able to touch this yet. It's here for you though. It's not that I don't want you to have it. I want you to have it. I want you to have it. I want you to bring the fullness of the feminine gifts out into the world. I want you to do womb healing and womb awakening. I want you to learn how to maneuver energy and how to pull things in and how to use energy to, I don't want to use the word spell cast because it's gross, but how to use ritual. I want you to do that, but you are not ready because you will misuse the power of it. You will misuse it. You have too much stuff sitting in your base chakra around safety, security, money, all of that crap that you will misuse it. And you can see that all over online. You can see the misuse of it all over online. You can see where someone compromises truth and love and Shakti and like the pureness of the divinity of the feminine. And it's compromised because they need to make some money. So they're making a choice based on some rubble sitting in the first chakra, or the second chakra, or the third chakra, power center, all of that stuff, all of that stuff, all of that stuff, all of that stuff, all of that stuff. So there's this aspect of the dark goddess, of Hecate, of Hecate, right? And we're seeing like which this, which that, which book here, which this, which that, witchy, blah, 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 all over the place, all over the place, all over the place. And I think it's fucking beautiful. It's fucking beautiful that it's coming to the surface, that we're not getting burnt at the stake right now. Well, not most of us. In some countries we still are. We're not getting burnt at the stake. We're not getting ostracized or drowned or chained up or put in prison for starting to open up to these gifts. But let's not bullshit ourselves. Let's not kid ourselves Like if we're gonna go for it, if we're gonna do this, let's do it then. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's not sprinkle fairy dust. And I think fairy dust is a real thing, and I think fairies are great. I like fairies. I love fairies. I think they're amazing, and I totally believe in fairies. So let's use unicorn pixie cotton candy dust, because that's totally fictitious, right? Like, let's not sprinkle that around and call it Hecate. Let's not sprinkle that around and call it medicine woman. Let's not do that. Let's honor her for who she is. Let's honor medicine woman for what she's capable of. Let's honor what it is that womb awakening actually fucking means, and what we have to go through in order to have these mystical, magical, amazing wombs. Because the womb space, I cannot even begin to tell you what it is capable of. It would take me a week to speak about what our yonis can do, what our yonis can do, what our wombs can do, right? She's keeper of these mysteries. It would take me a week just to explain what's possible, but it will take us years to get through it. Years to get through it. It's not just a yoni steam and we're good to go. It's not just reading a book or, pixie, fairy, cotton candy, unicorn dust on our bellies and we're set. It's big work. It's deep work. It's not for everyone. I will be the first person. I will be the very first person to say dark goddess territory is not for everyone. Hecate territory is not for everyone. Witch, medicine woman, the depths of the feminine mysteries is not for everyone. Womb awakening is not for everyone. Because I'll tell you what, you will have to let go of all of the miscarriages from all of the past lives that you've ever had. You will have to pull out like demon babies out of your womb. Energetic things that we've been clinging onto and holding onto, because all of our wombs carry a lot. Think about the energetics of a womb. They hold, they carry, they do not let go all that easily. They say, I don't know if this is true or not, I have found it to be extraordinarily true, that you will carry energetics from your lovers from the last 7 years in your womb space. Mine go way beyond that. 7 years, I don't know who came up with that. Sounds like a good fairy tale number. Sure, I'm in for that. But for me, it's like the lifetime of lovers that I've had. There is some of that energy that was in my system. That was in my system. And until we work with that, it's there. Holy buckets. Wow. So who wants to do Birthing a New World retreat? Oh my God. Retreat energy is just wild and ferocious, and it is no bullshit, especially when we're talking about birthing a new world. And when we're working with the medicine woman and we're working with the dark goddess, and we're saying that we're open to her, that we're open to reclaiming the witch, we're open to reclaiming the medicine woman, that we're open to awakening to the gifts. The gifts are in you. They're in you. They're in all of us. They're there. They're just mostly dormant because there's so much stuff on top of them. There's so much rubble on top of them. There's so much stuff in the basement. Her juice comes from the basement. Her juice comes from the depths. It's not like high mystical energy that comes pouring in down your crown and from above and golden, wonderful, mystical, amazing stuff. It's not that. She rises from the depths. Her energy, her gifts, her magic, her wisdom, it rises from the depths. And if we have blocked first chakra, blocked second chakra, if we've got a lot of sexual trauma, we have a lot of safety, security trauma, her energy can't move through there, right? Her energy comes from the basement. It comes from the shadows. It comes from there. Like every time we walk into that basement, we open a door, that's more of her energy that rises out. Every time we go another layer deeper and we open up that door, her gifts open up to us. It's natural, it's innate, it's what happens. And so you can go in, it's like the tricky little way of getting the ego convinced that this is a good idea. Because if I were to say to you, hey, go do shadow work, go look at your deepest, darkest, most traumatic, most horrible things that are blocking you from having the best life possible, it doesn't sound that exciting. It doesn't sound that exciting. If I say to you, like, you're gonna be puking in a bucket and you're gonna be like crying and like ugly crying, snotting crying, puking in a bucket, because you're just gonna be releasing this old blocked up energy from not just this life, from your ancestral line that you've absorbed and from past lives. This is Hecate territory. We don't get to reclaim medicine woman, the witch, Hecate magic, womb wisdom without doing ancestral healing, without doing the ancestral healing. We don't get to fully reclaim the medicine woman gifts without doing past life healing, without some of that coming in, whether it's totally conscious or not. You know, it depends on how you go into it. It's not like you get a story of past lives. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. So don't start to like put it in some box like that. But so I was saying, if I were to tell you, puking in a bucket, snotting, crying your eyes out for days over the grief that's in your womb over losing babies, or the grief that sits in your body, or the pain or the fear that sits in your body, we are so scared of our power. We are so scared. We are scared to be seers. We are scared to know. We are scared to be oracles. We are scared. We are scared of witch gifts. We are scared. We're scared. We don't even know that we're scared. We're scared. We're terrified. What is it going to do to my life? If I start seeing the truth, seeing the unseen, what is that going to do to my life? That might mean that I see that my partner is having an affair. I don't want to see that, because that means that my marriage is over and my bank account goes to zero. That's just a totally random example. But can you feel one kind of aspect of why we are so scared? We are so scared. There are wildly amazing capacities in these bodies, in these beings. All of those things that people talk about, medicine woman gifts, the oracle, seer, psychic, it's real. It's real. It's real. Spell casting, it's real. But like magnetizing things into your world, it's real. It's real. These things they're not real. They're real. They're real. But what's required? What's required for those capacities to open in us? What's required for those capacities to open in us is big. And it's something that's so big that most people will not walk through that gauntlet. Will not walk through that gauntlet. Like, not in this life. No thanks. Like, I'm all right. I don't want to be that powerful. I don't want to think a thought and then it happens. That sounds really great. To think something and then 2 minutes later, a person calls and says, hey, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, oh no, I was not totally serious about that. I could go on with so many examples of this, of unconscious spellcasting, of unconscious use of power, of misuse of power, all of these things. But I won't. I won't. I want to give us, what in the hell can I give us here? Other than a beating, other than just a good truth bombing and a good beating of who she is and what's required to open to her, I'm just feeling into what's most useful. I think I'll go back. I still didn't finish. I like opening doors and then not closing them. And so one like loop that I opened was this: if I were to tell you puking in a bucket, I'm going back to puking in a bucket, crying your eyes out. Puking in a bucket, crying your eyes out, going into your deepest, darkest shadows is what's going to awaken the medicine woman in you, is what's going to bring you to your fullest. It's not like that exciting. But if you hear it from a different angle, which is the angle that like our egos like to cling on to, it's the angle that we like to tell ourselves, and it's like our way of getting ourselves to do it. And that way is opening up to these gifts, opening up to these capacities within, opening up to these capacities within. But know that they're like two sides of the same coin. They're two sides of the same coin. We don't get to open up to the gifts. We don't get to become medicine women and have energy, like our rituals actually fucking work. They work. Rituals work. Burning a piece of paper with some shit on it to get rid of it, it works. It works. You just need the juice behind it. You just need the Shakti behind it. That needs to be alive and awake in you. That capacity just needs to be woken up in you. That's it. That's all it takes. Then all of the rituals get real. All of the rituals get real. Suddenly, like, rocks are not rocks. They're powerful fucking crystals. Healing hands are not just a nice massage that feels good. They're actually the capacity to put your hands on someone and heal big, deep shit in them, right? But it has to come online. It has to come online. And it doesn't come online without the other side of the coin being looked at. And the other side of the coin being looked at is all of the stuff that blocks those capacities from opening up. All the stuff that blocks the capacities from opening up. So that lifetime when you got burnt at the stake, that one, you know, the last time that you opened up and the last time that you were a witch and you were fully expressing all of your powers and you got killed for it and you vowed you would never do it again. Well, you have to look at that. You have to look at that. You have to look at your ancestral line. My mom, she definitely was not open to her witch capacities. My grandmother, not open to her witch capacities. So the feminine line in my family had shut that down a long time ago. So I have to go into my own DNA, and switch it back on. And who knows what's gonna come up there? Who knows what kind of rubble I'm gonna run into when I go in there? It might be, whoa, if I turn this on, I might da-da-da-da-da or da-da-da-da-da. These are totally, they're fears that oftentimes make zero sense. They're like petrifying, terrifying fears. When we hit that point, often that fear lies underneath grief. There's like grief that this is usually a pretty easy one to access, is the grief layer. So the grief layer is usually the one that sits on top, or it can be the rage. They switch around. So it's grief, rage, fear, or rage, grief, fear. We're different. Like I was a rage. It was easier for me to access rage. Grief was a harder one for me to access. But how it kind of looks, and you can feel into this for yourself. This is kind of a good little like doorway in, or start to get in there. And it's, if you were to feel into, so let's do this practice. This is what we can go into. Okay. So give yourself a second. I know that was like a whole lot of, I don't know what that was for you, but just give yourself a second. Take a couple of deep breaths. This is going to be just an introspective, reflective feeling into self. So this is one of those practices of knowing thyself around medicine woman. We get to feel into where our own kind of medicine woman is at. So just breathing. Relaxing the body. I know you might be like tight or tense or defensive or armored up, or tears might be coming. I don't know what state you're in. We're all in very, very different states, but just relaxing for a moment, holding yourself, feeling safe. So really bringing up like some love energy, surrounding yourself with some love energy to feel safe. Oftentimes when doing dark goddess work, Hecate work, medicine woman work, witch work, there is like a really important factor to bring in love and safety, to make our inner child feel safe. So just doing a quick check. Can I do something to make my inner child feel safe here? Like what can I do to just feel safe, to just feel loved, to feel held, and to feel safe? And so just doing that for a moment. And then feeling into you in your fullness. So you expressing your gifts out into the world. You expressing like the mystical child, maybe. Maybe you go back to when you were a child and it was very easy to move between the realms. It was very easy to see the other side. You had guides, you had spirit guides. It was really easy to connect into magic. It was just natural. It was natural to be in tune with Mother Nature. It was natural. It was and if childhood doesn't work for you, just feeling into what that would be like. You're very connected. You're very in tune. Your animal senses are switched on. Your intuition is switched on. And feeling into, like, you see the world through mystical eyes. You hear the world through mystical eyes. You're aware of the unseen as well as the seen. You move through the world as a part of the world, not something other than or external, but as a part of the whole. And you move through this world and you see and you feel and you sense from this place. And now feeling into expressing the gifts that you're here to express, like the way that love would want to express through you. There's no blocks, there's no prevention, there's nothing getting in your way. You're just fully expressing your gifts out into the world. Love is expressing itself through you in however it wants to express through you. It might express through you in the gifts of hands-on healing. It might express through you in the gift of loving your intimate partner. It might express through you in having babies and loving and raising your babies. It might express through you in creating something in the world. It might express through you in any way, but just feeling like love has no bounds, no bounds, no bounds, no bounds. Your gifts have no bounds, no bounds. There are no bounds to your gifts. You have full access to all of your gifts, and the gifts from the depths of your being. Like the depths of your being, like the depths, the womb gifts, the womb wisdom is a part of this. The deep rooted earthy connection is a part of this. And so you're expressing this, you're living in this way. And now come into this moment, into this body, this moment in time, this body, this life that you're living, the life that you're living now, the life that you're living now. Just coming into the life that you're living now. And then feeling for the blocks. You don't have to know what they are. You're just energetically feeling for the things that make this living hard, the things that make it challenging, the things that prevent you from living that connected, that open, that loving, that gifting, that much in your magic, the things that prevent you, the people that prevent you, the societal constructs that make it hard. And then now feeling into, what is the first emotion that comes up for you when you feel into the blocks? The first emotion, like you're feeling into this world, this world or them, and how hard it is to be a feminine medicine woman, a feminine mystic, how hard, how much work it requires, how challenging, how many blocks, and what is that first emotion that comes up? Is it grief? Is it grief? Is it sadness? Like, this is so incredibly sad. This makes me so sad that I feel like I can't be me. I can't be me. I cannot be me. I can't be me. This world cannot hold all of me. This world cannot accept all of me. This world cannot handle all of me. This relationship cannot handle all of me. This person cannot handle all of me. My family cannot handle all of me. Is it anger? So when you feel into these things like this world cannot handle all of me, it cannot handle my witch, it cannot handle my wild woman, it cannot handle all of this mystery and magic that flows through me. And I'm loving what you're all sharing. Rage, anger, grief, disencouragement, rage. So you feel into whatever that emotion, and you can feel, right? So the emotion that you're feeling, that we've just tapped into, this is just tapping into, this is part of what's in the basement. This is part of what's in the basement. These emotions are part of what's in the basement. This amount of grief that we're carrying around for not being able to be fully us, for not being able to be in our gifts, for not being able to be all of ourselves. That's some of the stuff that we carry around in our wombs, in our bodies, in our energy fields, in our basement. That's some of that unconscious material. That's some of that unconscious material, and it's oftentimes layered. It's layered, 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 and it can move. It can move, it can shift, and it can move in one moment. It can be grief, and you're so incredibly sad that this part of you doesn't feel accepted, that your partner doesn't accept this part of you, or your family doesn't accept this part of you, or the world as a whole just doesn't really like this part of you. They don't accept this part of you. And then it might shift out of grief into you are furious, like so angry. You cannot believe that this part of the feminine would be denied. Like, how could you deny me? How could you deny me? How could you push me underground? How could you ostracize me? How could you demonize me? How could you deny me? How could you deny me? And then that might be a layer. That might be a layer. That rage that you just can't even handle it in your system. There's so much rage. And then another layer beneath the grief or beneath the rage or somewhere in the layered cake of this whole thing, you hit fear. You hit your fear, the terror that comes with what will happen to me. What will happen to me if I am just fully me? If I do open up, to all of this energy, I do open up to this mystical way of being. I do open up to my sixth senses. I do open up. Like, what's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to me? Who am I going to lose? Who am I going to lose? What am I going to lose? Whose love am I going to lose? Who's going to stop loving me? Who's going to stop accepting me? Who's going to stop accepting me? If I were to show up at family dinner and say, I'm a witch, I'm really a witch. I'm really open and awake to all of these things, all of these unseen things that you don't even believe in, that you don't even think are real. Who's going to judge you? What's that going to feel like? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's the outcome of that going to be? Do you lose a relationship? Do you lose friends? Do you lose sense of self? Do you lose family? Do you lose your job? Do you lose your home? Oh, dear women, I fucking love you. Fear of being humiliated, cast out, left behind. Fear of losing everyone and everything in my life. Always the fear, the possible loss. Everyone who will attack me because they can't handle my inner power. I won't be enough. My rage comes after my fear. I'm just sick of feeling this fear about being my true highest self. I feel like I have my throat, I feel like I will have my throat slit by my father. Abandonment. Does Hecate have black wings? Hecate is very much associated with crow. So black wings for sure. You can feel that. Fear of abandonment. Lose respect and credibility. I'll lose everyone and everything. Fear of finding out what I truly want. I lived with this fear of losing love. I've lived with this fear of losing love all my life. Can you feel how big this is to reclaim, medicine woman? Can you feel what this means? But can you also, this makes me cry, can you also like feel into what it means when we, the other side of the coin, what it means for humanity, what it means for the feminine, what it means for Mother Nature, what it means for our children, what it means for the world as a whole, when we reclaim the medicine woman, when we reclaim this aspect of self, when we invite her to rise, to authentically like rise within us, to rise within us. When we say, okay, I'm willing to walk through my fears. I'm willing to walk through my grief. I'm willing to walk through my rage. I'm willing to experience and express those things so I can allow them to move through and out of my system. I'm willing to see all the times I was burnt at the stake for this. I'm willing to see all the times that my partner left me because I did this. I'm willing to see the times when they took my babies from me, when they cut my babies out of my belly because I was a witch. I'm willing to see what has happened. I'm willing to see the energetics that reside in my system, the unknown energetics that reside in the unconscious realms, in the shadow realms, in the base of my being. I'm willing to walk through that. I'm saying yes, because reclaiming this aspect of the feminine that is just love. That is just love. It is love. It is light. It is high-powered magic. It is mysticism from the depths. It is feminine wisdom from the depths. It is womb wisdom. It is her. It is her. It is the depths of her. It is the depths of her bringing up the most hidden mysteries of the feminine. And when that can rise up, and it can rise up through my being, through your being, right? And it rises up through our beings, and we can express that out in the world. Like we can stand in this world at this time amidst all the challenges, all the obstacles, all the pushback, that we all just felt into. And we can stand and we can still say yes. Like, yes, I'm gonna let her flow through me. Yes, I'm gonna let that come through me. Yes, I'm gonna let that aspect of love, I'm gonna let that expression of the feminine move through me. Yes, I'm gonna open up to being a seer, an oracle. Yes, I'm gonna open up to being a hands-on healer. Yes, that's going to look really weird to the world. Yes, they're gonna judge it and they're not gonna believe it, but I'm still gonna do it anyways. Because I know the importance that means to my soul. I know the importance that means to my evolutionary path. And I know the importance that means for the reclamation of the feminine in all of us, in humanity, in every man, woman, child on this planet, in the whole global collective consciousness. I know what that means. I know that this is so far beyond myself, so that when I can find the courage and I can find the strength to say yes, to open to this, to allow this aspect of the feminine to move through me and to move out into the world, and to let love be expressed through that particular vibration that is Hecate, that is medicine woman, that is the witch, the gift that is to not just myself, to not just myself feeling, oh, thank God I can be me. Thank I've come home. Thank God I can finally be me. I'm home in myself. I am true to myself. I'm authentic to myself. Thank fuck I can finally be me. Not just that gift to ourselves, but what that gift means to our babies, our little girls, our little boys growing up, what that gift means to our partners, to our friends, to our moms, to our sisters, to our brothers, to our uncles, to our fathers, what that gift means to Mother Nature, what that gift means to how we treat this planet, how we treat animals going forward, how we operate in rhythm with the natural cycles, instead of controlling and fighting her and trying to put her in a box. We move with her. We're just in flow. The whole world comes into flow. into flow, into flow, into flow, into flow, into flow. So, I think we should all birth a new world. and I think that the fullness of the feminine is being, I want to say being called to be a part of that, but those are not the words. She is calling for that. That's the way that it feels to me. She is calling for that. The fullness of the feminine is calling for the birth of a new world. The medicine women, the earth mothers, the aunties, the grandmothers, the women's wisdom, all of the feminine mysteries that have been underground, that have been hidden, that have been repressed, that have been ostracized, that have been judged. All of that energy in her, right? She is rising and she's asking to birth a new world. She's asking to rebirth all of us, to open all of us to this whole other half of us that most of us have never even opened to, right? And to open the world to the whole other half of the feminine that we have had a hell of a time accepting. A hell of a time accepting the witches. A hell of a time accepting the dark goddess. A hell of a time accepting the vast amount of power that resides in her. We individually have a hard time accepting the vast amount of power that resides within us, right? Our collective has a hell of a time accepting the vast amount of power that resides within the feminine. Can you feel that? Can you see how that shows up in our world? You can see. And that's part of the reclamation of the feminine. That's part of, oh, wow. We made it. Don't forget to breathe. Oh, dear woman, I don't know if that was a comment for me, but I'm taking it as a comment for me. Sister, thank you. Bethany, sending you huge love for that comment. I will not be in deep retreat for this work, but holy goddess, I will be holding space, big mama space. Bethany, huge love to you, sister. Wow. Women, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that we get to have these conversations. We get to talk this talk. We get to come to circle like this. We get to do this. My mom didn't get to do this. My grandmother certainly didn't get to do this. We get to do this, and we get to do it in this way. You didn't even have to leave your house to do this, right? You didn't have to leave your house to do this. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful to our circle. I'm grateful to our space. I'm grateful to the whole of our rewilding community. I'm really grateful to those who have said yes to birthing a new world, those who are coming on retreat. It's those women, like, let's just give a shout out to those women. This circle would not have happened without those women. This conversation, this much Hecate, this much juice, this much roar, this much of her truth coming through would not have happened without those women doing that retreat, without those women in that circle, holding that space and opening up to what they're saying that they're opening up to. So giving them a monster shout out for making this happen. The reason that we are here together today is because those women have said yes. And you can still say yes. P.S. You might not want to say yes anymore. Or maybe some of the women in that circle are like, fuck, what the hell did I sign up for? How do I retract from this circle? Let me out of this thing. But you'll see there's information kind of all over the place. If you're live, you'll see stuff in our Facebook group about that retreat. Starts on Monday, starts in 2 days from the time of this live. If you're on the podcast later on listening, you can still get in. Retreat period goes until the 26th. So we start the 20th and we go to the 26th. It's 7 days. Woo! It's a huge honor to be able to do this with you all. It's just a really deep, I don't even have words. I don't have words for what it is. So To you who are here on the live, thank you all for making this happen too. So special shout out for those of you who were here live, like at the time that this was happening. Your energetics weave into this in a big way when you're here live. And so to all of you who showed up today for the live, just a really big thank you all as well for making this happen. And just everyone in the rewilding community. We couldn't do this without our community, without you. We wouldn't do this. I wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here. So, all right. I love you, women. I will see some of you on retreat. I will see some of you in our Facebook group and on podcasts and in Inner Circle and wherever, however it is that I see you next time. So much love to you, women. Mwah!